Good morning. The start of day one of pretending to be a vlogger. Oh, hey, this is a part where I pretend where I didn't just set up the camera to film myself at my desk. Also, I also pretend that there wasn't a whole bunch of clutter here like 2 minutes ago that all got thrown over to another part of the room. So, hey, it's Monday morning. I am behind on things, so I've got my iPad here. I got to finish today's Noah's Archipelago. It should have been done actually last week, but usually last night, but isn't done at all. I'll do some screen recording for that. And oh, we have our breakfast of champions, quarter cup of, if I tip this so it shows, it'll probably spill out, but hazelnuts. Usually it's walnuts, but I'm out of walnuts. Got to go to Costco later. Apple, and a homemade blackberry oat sunflower seed muffin. These are awesome. If I remember, I'll try and post the recipe or a link to the recipe down below. You can tell by looking at me, this wasn't always my breakfast of choice, but it is what it is. It's actually pretty rad. So I am gonna get to work on the comic and we'll catch up throughout. Anyways, so happy Monday. Believe it or not. New Order was right. It's kind of a blue Monday so far, although the sun also just came up. So it'll probably go from being a blue Monday to being a gray Monday within about 45 minutes or so.
Vacation account. I printed that out.
Yeah, and we still weren't able to do it.
They said it was a bitch today.
Yeah.
One of these days, that's right.
Yeah. Some of these markers are getting to be a little bit dead. Oh well. I was going to do a graphic novel about Ricky and Ursula's quest for the cheesy rats. And it was going to include like scenes in the arcade with the kind of carny games. And I guess this fall, when we have our local fall fair, I should probably, we have West Coast Amusements comes in and does like the rides and the midway and all that stuff. I should probably go. I volunteer at the Couch and Exhibition every year, so I'm like busy inside Mellor Hall. But I mean, I'll be doing that this year, but I won't be doing as heavy a load like I was for a couple of years. I was running the needlework display area inside the hall exhibits, and then my friend took over. My friend who had done it for like 15 years before I did, she and I were co-chairs last year, and then she's taking it over again starting this year. So it does mean I'm going to have a little bit more spare time. So maybe I should then take some time, go down, explore the Midway, take a whole crap load of reference photos for stuff like this, you know. Good morning. The lights are still on at 7 a.m., but you wouldn't know it by looking outside. Morning. Happy Wednesday morning. Happy goofy hair Wednesday morning. This is what happens if I go to sleep and let it dry while I doze. Anyways, once again, I have not finished the Noah's Archipelago for today. And I have a painting class at 10, which I usually get there about 9:30, is set up and just kind of chill for half an hour. So that means I've got like 2 hours to finish the Noah cartoon and get it up. But, you know, I do try to have them posted around 9:10, 9:15 Pacific time. So, and the desk has acquired a little bit more clutter. This is exciting. Hot pink moleskin. Oh my God. And blank. Most of my moleskins are like the dotted ones. But I wanted to have some really thin, so they'll open, you know, flat. Well, now I'm going to the edges where they would open flat anyways, but where it'll open relatively flat. Of course, this one's new, so it wants to do that. Versus, you know, your standard sketchbook. This is a Noah book that I have some notes in, but often I just put the notes on my text writer, text pad, whatever it's called, the app on there. But you know what I mean, like Oh, this is a bag. This one's sitting flatter than what I was saying, but that's because this book's also, I've had it a few years. It's used to be like that, right? But my point, I think I was thinking more like, when you're first starting a sketchbook and you have this weird 1-inch gap, and then if you try and draw on this side, the thing, anyways, whatever. Hey everyone, I just got back from my painting class, so I think this one might be done. When this started this morning, it just had the raw like color wash over the top and then the acrylic paint marker grid and drawing transfer. But so I'm going like, I'm just gonna block in some color, and normally when I paint, I then would go over and make it more realistic. That's what I've been doing the last couple of years anyways. I mean, a few years ago I was doing stuff that was like totally abstract and symbolic and whatever, but I'll link to the tour of Ricky's still life so you can see what I mean, where I did have some of this like paint pen kind of work, but it was over top and otherwise it was fairly realistic. But as I was blocking stuff in today, I was like, I kind of like it. As it was. So I did add some like paint pen texture, like, because this is like a corrugated iron, like the corrugated steel. I'll rust it out in the bottom there. This is the back of a building that no longer exists. It was at on East 2nd in Vancouver between Maine and Quebec. And I think originally it was like a glove factory, and then it was headquarters for Vancouver Playhouse Theatre Company. So like this area went into prop storage. This one went into, there was like some workshops in here, and then that way there was a small parking lot with only like 8 spaces, and then that opened into this huge rehearsal space and whatnot. I think costume workshop was up here. And then, yeah, props. So anyways, it got taken over by a company called Renegade Productions and turned into music rehearsal studios after Playhouse went out of business. Point is, this is a photo I took, I don't know, 2013, 2014, coming home from a walk or a run about midnight or something. And then I added Ricky on the left and Jeff on the right from my Ricky B. the Rock and Roll Rat sort of world. And they're out having a smoke break. So in this world, this is actually supposed to be the back door of Big Mike's studio, Rat Trap Studios. So they're still out having their smoke break. But anyways, I was thinking, oh, I'll paint all this kind of gray, but let some of the yellow and green show through and some of the purplish, so that it would look more real, but there'd be these little hints poking through. But when I got all my, it's not really properly an underpainting, but when I got stuff done, then it was like, oh, I think I'm kind of done. So anyways, I've done a little bit of paint pen work. Like, obviously, you can tell how rudimentary Ricky and Jeff are, but it kind of works here. The painting then kind of becomes about the building, and, it's an alley, so of course we're going to have rats in the alley. The fact that they're humanoid rats and they're smoking. you know, a little unusual, but still, rats in the alley are part of the scenery. Um, anyways, so it's interesting. I like this approach, and what I was saying earlier in my class to my instructor is like, well, this is a totally different style that I'm used to painting, and I've had him for a couple other workshops, Mitchell Villa, so he's seen my stuff. But it does feel, anyways, as I was driving home, I realized it's very different from my paintings, but you know what it's very similar to? Hey, Pyra, when you're editing, put in some of those old Instagram, I call them Instagram collages, but they're digital collages. I did a whole series of them a number of years ago that I posted on Instagram, which is why I call them Instagram collages. But when you see those, and at this point, there should be a few of them that are going across the screen or have gone across the screen. You can see how I handle color. It's very similar to what this painting is doing. Um, it's also, I mean, the overlays type of thing. I mean, I've been doing that even in thumbnails for my Tuesday live drawing. That thumbnail has a little bit of this. The Paint with Pyra thumbnails, I was doing that sort of stuff where I was layering and making it look all weird. So it's not like it's a departure for my usual artwork. It's a departure for my painting, but maybe it's an improvement. I think it might be an improvement. Anyways, so that was kind of a monumentous, unexpectedly monumentous morning of painting. I got a couple clips in class, but I didn't want to be like, even though my camera would just be on my thing, you know, people are having conversations and whatnot. Like, so, anyways, so I was trying to not be a dick about that. So I don't have a lot of footage from when I was working on this, just bits and pieces. But while we're talking painting, be a whole section right in the middle of this vlog. So let's look at, as I kick a couple boxes out of the way. So we've got some other canvases on the go. Now, this one is Miles's Elvis. It'd be interesting to kind of test this sort of approach from what I just showed you for Ricky and Jeff in the alley with this. Now, obviously, because Miles is the focal point here, we are going to flesh out Miles semi-realistically, but like there's supposed to be mouse girls screaming in the background and all that. Miles, not that Miles is a rock star, he's an accountant, but he has a sideline of being an Elvis impersonator on the weekends for fun and profit and easy lays. Anyways, so we'll have Miles fully fleshed out, but maybe we're going to do the background very similar to this other one. This other one, this next little canvas, much smaller, of course, this is Noah's daughter Ursula from Noah's Archipelago. And it is a frame from one of the cartoons from last August where Ursula gets this delivery from Amazon in August, and she's very suspicious that it might be math books. But her old man tries to tell her it might be, well, Dane bricks in the comics, but Lego, right? So and he just leaves the box and a pair of scissors next to her while she's sitting on the floor in the living room with cereal watching cartoons. So she keeps kind of looking because she's tempted because maybe there is Dane bricks in there, but she knows it's probably math books. Anyway, so there was a little arc for like a week, and then the way it ended, of course, is her father, Noah, and her mother, Ruth, in the kitchen, and suddenly there's this blood-curdling scream from the living room, and Noah says, well, I guess she opened the box, i.e. it was also definitely not Lego, it was math books. So that's, I haven't worked on that in a couple weeks, but then, well, okay. What did I just say about, oh, this is different from my usual painting style? Well, this is Noah that I started in August, dressed up as Noah's job. Well, he's a stay-at-home dad during the daytime, but in the evenings, he sings in a bunch of cover bands, and he films a lot of like Instagram reels and whatnot. So he's singing the Pina Colada song, you know, the if you like pina coladas and something something in the rain. Anyways, he's singing the Pina Colada song dressed as a pineapple. But yeah, what I did today is actually very similar to the way I treated the pool. and with little bits of this sort of decorative stuff coming through. So, okay. It's not my style. Well, maybe it is. This is the one. Okay, let me just move Miles out of the way. But anyways, this is the Paint with Pyra canvas as it currently stands. I'm not doing the Paint with Pyra separate videos anymore. I'm just going to do what I've done today. Take a few little clips of what I'm painting and then talk about it. So incorporate that into my weekly vlog. But now this one, Ricky, will be more fleshed out. But I may, like we have the windows of this place have this mysterious sort of background decoration. So we may have versions of what I did today brought into this painting as well in the background. Working title on this is Official Judge, because Ricky has found out that they have weed at the local fair. So he's made himself his very own little badge to let people know he's the official judge. Of course, he can't spell official. So it's kind of a dead giveaway. He's probably lying, but anyways, and then this canvas I haven't done anything with yet, other than a color wash. And then there's Noah's Clown Dance. So same pool, we're going to do kind of similar, although the background being orange, it doesn't quite look as nice, but maybe I'm going to muck with it the way I did for the building today. So we'll kind of fix that later. But Noah is, you can't really tell because they're still just drawn, but I'm going to do the Noah part because that's through a window. And then once that's finished, then we're going to do inside the house, which is Noah's mother-in-law, Agnes, and her friend, Lorraine. Oops, where am I pointing? There we go. Now I'm pointing at Lorraine. Sitting inside, and Noah is doing a bunch of stuff to annoy them. Actually, it's taken from a comic from a couple of years ago. And Noah Colada actually was inspired by one of the same sort of things in that same arc over a week or two period, where he was out there dressed as a pineapple, and Lorraine is like doing a running commentary telling Agnes, and Agnes doesn't want to know anything that Thorson is up to. So there we go. A little bit of a recap of the paintings. But yeah, I'm kind of digging this. Might be a new painting direction. Here I thought I was finished with new painting directions. Like, we're just going to do realistic renderings of my cartoon characters. And yeah, we'll add some like paint pen work over top to give it more cartoony vibe. But this is cartoony, but without without going so far as to be realistic. Now, again, some stuff is gonna be more realistic. I like Ricky here for Official Judge. Like, I think he needs to be properly fleshed out and whatnot. But the people in the background could end up being this same sort of simplistic treatment as in the alleyway. Anyways, I still need to do some more paint pen work because the original building had like iron bars, the decorative bars that go across. And because this is a studio with a back alley, there's probably expensive gear in there. So we're going to assume that Ricky's boss, Big Mike, has bars on the windows and stuff. So we'll add those in, and there'll be a few more small touches like that. But it's like 90% done. Whereas this morning, I thought when I got to this point, I would only be like 25% done, because then I'd have to go and make it look, just like the reference photo, which rather than go and dig for the reference photo now, I'll just put it on the screen. There you go. But rather than, anyways, I'm babbling, I think, but I'm babbling because it's kind of exciting, and yeah. So that's the big painting news of the week. Oh, and an addendum. Not only is it similar to how I approached the background in Noah Colada, but the second I sit down at my iMac, what do I have up in iMovie? Oh, it's the Monday's Noah's Archipelago comic. Look at the backgrounds. It's not my style. It's not my style. Yeah, it is. It just wasn't my acrylic painting style. Well, except it was. Anyways, enough about that. Moving on. Hello, everyone. It's Thursday. It's find something to goof off day. But also, it's very nearly the end of January, and every end of January, I get into a kick where, it's not quite spring yet, so I can't say I don't have flowers because I have like witch hazel and stuff like that, but or winter hazel, whatever you want to call it. But I don't really have flowers. And anyways, I always get into this thing where I bought some plants there. I might on Tuesday there might be a little clip in the store. Um, but also I have a bunch of other stuff. This is definitely not a new plant. They wouldn't sell it like this. But anyways, I figure I need to do a little repotting. This is going to be the worst one. You can kind of see, I think, if I lean back, yeah, you can kind of see that it's sunk into its pot. I've had this for several years. Um, and it's just not thriving. It's doing all right. I mean, hey, when I got it, it was only this tall, and now it's up to here, but it needs repotting. This is too big, but I do have fetched a terracotta pot from outside and washed it up. So we are going to use this guy. Got a little chip on the rim, but I think it's going to be fine for now. I mean, it's going to be inside, right? Anyways, so that'll be, usually they say you want like a 1-inch gap. By the way, I am not, clearly I am not a pro with taking care of my plants. I have kind of a survival of the fittest sort of deal going on. Also, I'm just thinking, my gloves are outside. I've got a covered patio and I have a little shelf unit on there. And I'm noticing the spider egg sac on here. So I'm like, okay, is there anything living in these gloves? Maybe I should be concerned. I don't see anything. If I suddenly scream, then I guess there was. But I will admit that a reason why I don't repot my cactuses as often as I possibly should is that it's just such a hassle to do it. Yeah, and then you get stabbed, and it's not pleasant. Um, so, so I've made a little bit of a well in here. I don't know how much. If you want to see this sort of thing done properly, of course, you go watch Garden Answer. But if you want to see it done improperly, then I'm your gal. It's not too bad. Now we have to get the excess soil somehow in there, and that's always a bit of a issue. I'm just gonna use a spoon. With non-cactus plants, you can go up a couple inches every repot, and that actually makes it a lot easier. Plus, you don't get stabbed when you're, like, you can use your fingers for this step to poke it down, and you don't get stabbed, which is nice. But I do like cactuses because I sometimes often forget to water. So, you know. What I'll do after I kind of get a bunch of the soil tamped down. It's a flower bud. Is then I'm going to put it on a tray and I'm going to water it. And that should settle the soil. And then I'll know if I need to add more. It is sitting a little bit high in the pot, but then I don't mind that so much. Especially because then if you tamp it down and you have like a ring around the pot that's a little bit lower when you water, the water doesn't flow right off the side, but also it's kind of right at the root level, so then it'll get down, I think, a little better. That's my thought process. It's probably wrong. All right. I have the sink right on the other side, so we're just gonna run it over here. And we will set that behind the camera and let it soak while we repot something else. All right, and there we have them. So I have this little barrel cactus. Still messy. What I'm going to do is kind of leave them on the counter for a couple days. Saturday is my main chore day. So that'll give me a chance to give them a little bit more water and then wipe off the pots and stuff. And this is the snake plant. Got a couple peace lilies. Now this one is getting ready to bloom. I don't know if I will have just pissed it off or made it super, super happy that it's in this pot. And a little Dracaena, which was very sad in its 4-inch pot, and it was also root bounded. I think sucked all the nutrients out of that soil. So at least we've got some improvement made. And like I said, I'll keep an eye on these over the next couple days before I put them in their final spots. So there we have it. My plants, these plants won't hate me anymore. I actually might in the thumbnail for this video put some of the ones that I just got with little thought bubbles going, help me, help. The search for better ergonomics when working on the iPad continues. Even though I know the actual answer is stop drawing on the freaking iPad and start using Clip Studio Pro on my iMac, which you can see over there. But if I'm working on the computer, I'm sitting straight up. If I'm working on this, what I had been doing was having it on the desk with just, where is it? Excuse the creaking of the chair, with just this under the back end for a little bit of a tilt. And then I'm like, why does my chest feel tight within 5 minutes of doing that? It's like, oh, I think it's the ergonomics. Anyway, so we're going to try this sort of jerry-rigged kind of situation and see if it works better for finishing tomorrow's Noah's Archipelago cartoon. But ultimately, I know in the next vlog or the vlog after, I gotta have some footage of me watching Clip Studio Pro tutorials and then drawing in Clip Studio Pro, because I think that will ultimately solve the problem. Anthology is going to be in full color, but I was kind of thinking about, well, do I do these bonus cartoons in Procreate to match the actual cartoons? I'm like, yeah, you know what? It'd be kind of neat to have like a couple little hand-drawn elements for it. So bonus cartoons are all going to be black and white. So when I'm drawing his face, I got to concentrate a little more, which means I got to talk a little bit less. Some might say that makes it a better stream. It's Saturday morning. Usually this is my tidying up day, although I'll be doing a little more of that later. And, well, let's kind of get a couple things going. So those obnoxious, I couldn't resist these. Thought it would be neat to have a bench here so I can sit and look over at my canvas. Now, the one thing that's left in the middle there is that disco ball. What I want to do with it is that UFO is a prop I did for an episode of the Nick White Show, where he gets probed by alien chicks. It's a whole thing. I guess I should explain. So the Nick White Show, it was a weird little sitcom that I did with like Barbie dolls as the cast and setup. I'll link down below. But in this one, it's Nick, who's the second biggest rock star of the 80s and is a complete idiot. But he's always trying to one-up Bono. And it was the episode, it was a trilogy of episodes I did right after Bono went and did his visit to Ukraine. And then 2 days after his visit to Ukraine, he announced his memoir. Totally unrelated, obviously, right? But anyway, so I had this thing where Nick wanted to also make a Ukraine video, but he wasn't going to go there because, you know, he might get shot or worse, disfigured in a war zone. So anyways, he ends up filming the whole thing. And the Irish guy who's the DJ at the strip club next door to his recording studio offers to film it. That being Podrick. Podrick can't stand Nick. So he just fed Nick a whole bunch of BS, and Nick could never remember what country they're supposed to be in and all this stuff. So one of they end up where Nick thinks they're in different countries like Uruguay and Yugoslavia and all this, but there's a scene where they're in the UFO.
Vroom, vroom, vroom. Are you getting this, Podrick? Remember to add in the explosions and whatnot in post. Oh no! The Russians are getting closer! I must stop this damnable war! See, this is what we're fighting for, so that, line... Yes, what Patrick said about their hypnotizing native dancers. No, stop! I must save Yugoslavia from... wait, what's his name again? PewDiePie. No, that's not it. Oh yes, now I remember. It was George Bush. Oh!
So I had built that little UFO basically to fly in for 2 seconds. And it's been hanging up there gathering dust since. But what I was thinking of is this disco ball thingy light. If I can get that hanging up there, the only thing is, I'll aim the camera back down at the disco ball thing. The only thing is, if I'm going to hang it up there, that is super heavy, right? And it's not a very long cord. It's about 6 feet, which is, I mean, it's better than nothing, but I'm going to see if I can rig this somehow. The only thing I'm thinking of is, the other problem is the switch is on here. So if I hang that there, I'm going to have to get up on my little ladder in order to turn it on. You know what? Or I guess I could leave it on all the time, and then if I have this plugged into a power bar, I turn the power bar on and off. We will try it. I'm a little concerned that this might be a little too heavy. This has a hook, so this will stay on there, but this would like drag on whatever I plug it into. But we are going to keep dropping it out of range of the camera. We're going to see if we can rig this up, because it'd be kind of fun to have like a little disco ball thing going. In the evenings, well, I mean, you can see outside on the patio, I have Christmas lights, and those are on dawn to dusk. They're going to get turned off pretty soon. I mean, my Christmas lights in the front of the house are pink, so I usually leave them on their timers until Valentine's, and then I shut them off. But ones I have inside the house I use for mood lighting stay on, actually. The other thing, so the end of the Christmas lights goes there, and they are on a timer. If I have the disco ball always lit, always turned on, in theory, if I plug it into that, then when the Christmas lights come on at 4 p.m., then the disco ball starts going. I guess we'll find out. We will find out. So, anyways, let's get this aimed back up at our UFO friend. Yeah. Time to probe Nick. This is just made out of glitter foam from Michaels and some rhinestones glued on and some gold paper underneath. Anyways, so yeah, if I have that turned on, put that there. I loop it, that doesn't seem too bad. So hide that there. Got some little display boxes. It works! That noise is going to drive me insane. Because I'm wearing a lav mic, it probably doesn't pick up in the camera. But it does go. But we have a proof of concept. It does work. I've got the charge box over on top of, where am I pointing at in the camera? There. At the end of the Christmas lights. So yeah. Well, there's one chore done. I don't know what I'm going to do with the UFO. Kind of, it just gathers dust. It was, like I said, it was a 2-second prop. But yeah, so that's cool. Maybe. So these little lights at the bottom on the sides were kind of aimed up. So I got up on the ladder again and aimed them more down. So now it does cast more of that kind of rainbowy kind of look in a bigger area. Don't know if the mic will pick up what I was saying about the annoying noise though. It's not that bad. If I'm watching YouTube or whatever, I probably won't even notice it. But yeah, so there we go. Hey everyone. Okay, it's Sunday afternoon. I'm waiting for the rain to stop so I can go for a walk. It's probably not going to be till like 3 o'clock. And, the art stuff for the week isn't totally done because I still have to finish Noah's Archipelago for tomorrow. And if I have some time, I might do a little bit. I don't know if I'll do any painting, but I have a new canvas I'm going to be starting. Well, it's already got the base color. I'm looking at it, but anyways, I'm not going to haul it over here. But I'm going to be trying that style that we had with the alley painting. I have a pic that I'm using as a reference, which I actually took in Hope, BC 10 years ago, longer than that. Anyways, I was on a little mini road trip with my dad up there. And it was summer, but it was kind of an overcast day. And we got the mountains and we've got a gas station. I don't know why I took a picture of the gas station. I think it was trying to take the mountains and the clouds, but the gas station is very prominent. So we're going to have Ricky stomping along, carrying a jerry can, gas can, the big plasticky, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, and we're going to see how I like doing that with the similar kind of very vibrant color, not really realistic, sort of semi-abstract, like with that smoke break in the alley painting from earlier. That's probably going to take me a couple weeks because I don't know if I'll even get the grid done. Well, I'll have to get the grid done before my Wednesday painting class. This is all stuff for the next vlog, all right? But I might try and get the grid done tonight, depending. But I'm going to cut off the vlog here and just sort of say, had a whole bunch of stuff happen this week that it's kind of small stuff, but stuff I wasn't expecting. Like, I'm looking at the alley painting, which is why I keep looking over there. But I did not expect that. There's that whole blurb in the middle, right? I did not expect to feel that painting was done so soon, but I want to do some more experiments with, it's not really a small painting, it's 24 by 30, but will fit in the trunk of my car kind of paintings as opposed to the really big 30 by 40s, which I want to kind of hold on for when I'm sure of style. Although I got to get moving on those too in the next couple weeks. Anyways, we did a whole bunch of cartooning stuff. So I'd say it was a pretty productive week. Oh, and a couple live streams. And anyways, so this is the new normal. No more scuttlebutt. No more paint with Pyra, but kind of taking snippets and combine them into an artist vlog. So it's been fun. And I think this is what I'm going to continue doing for my YouTube content outside of the live streams and some drawing reels. And yeah, I think it serves the purpose better because you can actually see. Whereas when I was doing Scuttlebutt, it was all like this, me sitting here, blah, 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 and sometimes putting something on the screen, but you're going to have to take my word for it. Whereas now it's like, I'm just going to film it and I'll tell you about it in voiceovers and whatnot. So anyways, hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed making it. And we will catch you next week for the next vlog. Bye for now. Have a good week.